Today's story is about revenge, pride, and the hidden power of kindness. Many people believe winning means defeating an enemy, but Gautama Buddha taught something very different. He taught that the greatest victory is turning hatred into peace, without fighting, without shouting, and without revenge. This is the story of a king who wanted to destroy his enemy until Buddha changed his heart forever. If you enjoy wisdom stories and peaceful life lessons, subscribe to the channel and join us for more stories from Buddha's life. Now, let us begin. The Two Rival Kingdoms. Long ago, in ancient India, there were two neighboring kingdoms. One kingdom was rich and powerful. The other was smaller but peaceful. For many years, the two kings lived in harmony. Trade flowed between the kingdoms, and people traveled safely across the borders. But one year, a terrible drought struck the land. Rivers dried up, crops failed, food became scarce. Both kingdoms depended on the same river for water. Soon, arguments began over who had the right to use it. The ministers of the powerful kingdom filled their king's mind with anger. "They are stealing our water," they said. "If we do not act now, our people will suffer." The king became furious. He ordered his army to prepare for war. Meanwhile, the smaller kingdom also feared attack. Their soldiers gathered at the riverbanks, ready to defend themselves. The people on both sides were terrified. One small disagreement was about to become a bloody war. As the tension grew, news reached Gautama Buddha. Buddha immediately traveled toward the river where both armies stood facing each other. The sight was frightening. Thousands of soldiers held weapons under the hot sun. Horses stomped the ground nervously. The kings stared at each other with hatred. Then suddenly, a quiet figure walked calmly between the armies. It was Buddha. The soldiers became silent. Even the angry kings lowered their weapons out of respect. Buddha stood beside the river and asked softly, "What is the value of this water?" One minister answered, "Very little, master. It is only river water." Buddha nodded. Then he asked, "And what is the value of human life?" The kings replied, "Human life is priceless." Buddha looked at both armies carefully. "Then why," he asked, "are you willing to destroy priceless lives for something that has little value?" The entire battlefield became silent. No one could answer. But the powerful king still held on to his pride. He stepped forward angrily and said, "They insulted my kingdom. If I do nothing, I will appear weak." Buddha picked up a burning stick from a nearby campfire. Holding it carefully, he asked the king, "If I throw this fire at someone, whose hand burns first?" The king looked confused. "The one holding the fire burns first," he replied. Buddha smiled gently. "In the same way, anger burns the person carrying it before it harms anyone else." The king looked down at the flame. For the first time, he saw how his hatred had already stolen his peace. His anger had kept him awake at night. It had poisoned his thoughts. It had turned fear into violence, and now it was about to destroy thousands of innocent lives. At that moment, a young soldier from the smaller kingdom stepped forward, trembling. He bowed before Buddha and said, "Master, I do not want to fight. My wife just gave birth to our son yesterday. But if war begins, I may never see him again." Soon another soldier from the larger kingdom spoke. "My mother is sick. I joined the army because I was ordered to. I do not hate these people." One by one, soldiers from both sides lowered their weapons. The kings slowly realized something painful. The people standing before them were not enemies. They were fathers, sons, husbands, and brothers. The war was not driven by the people. It was driven by pride. Buddha turned to the angry king and said, "A man who conquers others may appear powerful, but the man who conquers his own anger is far greater." The king's eyes filled with emotion. Slowly, he removed his sword and placed it on the ground. The other king did the same. Moments later, both armies lowered their weapons together. What could have become a terrible war ended in complete silence. No blood was spilled. No families were destroyed. Peace had won without a battle. The two kings later agreed to share the river fairly. They worked together to build canals and store water for future droughts. the people of both kingdoms celebrated. And the people never forgot the day a single peaceful man stopped two armies with wisdom instead of force. This story teaches us that arguments and revenge often begin with pride. When anger controls the mind, even small problems become dangerous. But wisdom asks a simple question: is winning the fight worth losing your peace? Gautama Buddha showed that calmness, understanding, and patience can stop conflicts that violence never could. Sometimes the strongest person is the one who chooses peace when everyone expects war. If this story inspired you, share it with someone who may be carrying anger or pain in their heart. And always remember, you do not have to defeat people to win in life. Sometimes the greatest victory is walking away from hatred with peace still inside you. Subscribe for more Buddhist wisdom stories, peaceful teachings, and life lessons from Gautama Buddha. See you in the next story.